Once upon a time, in a small village in Ijebu-Ode, lived a fine young man whose name was Kunle. Kunle was a man desired and liked by almost all the maidens in the village. It wasn't that Kunle was a wealthy man or was from a wealthy family. No, he wasn't. He was only just an ordinary farmer. But that does not mean that he was so poor either. He wasn't. He was doing okay and living comfortably. The attributes that made the maidens of the village like and desire Kunle was because he was the most handsome of all the men in the village. He was tall, dark, muscular, and had a smile that could light up even the dullest day. His skin was as smooth and shiny as fresh palm oil, and it glowed beautifully under the sun. His chest was broad like the trunk of an old Iroko tree, and his arms were strong from many years of working very hard on the farm. Kunle's face was the kind that made people look twice. His jaw was well shaped, his nose stood firm and proud, and his lips were full and soft. His eyes were deep and kind, shining like stars on a clear night. And he had the sweetest of smiles. When Kunle smiled, his white teeth, neat and bright like fresh coconuts, showed easily, making many maidens' heart beat faster. But to crown it all, Kunle was a kind young man. He wasn't boastful, nor was he proud, as it is usually seen with young men and women who are so good looking. He greeted elders with respect, helped everyone he came across without being asked, and spoke gently to everyone, no matter their age or position. Kunle's beauty was not only what the eyes could see, it was also the beauty of his heart. And that, more than anything else, was what made him loved not only by the maidens in the village, but also by everyone. Some of the maidens even prayed quietly in their hearts that one day Kunle would notice them. But Kunle was smart and noble. He did not lead any lady on, nor gave them false hope, because he was in love with only just one maiden. The name of this maiden was Ireti. Ireti was a beauty herself, and she was also gentle, humble, and wise. It was this quiet beauty of her heart that captured Kunle's love, a love that ran deep and true. However, Kunle's mother, who was popularly known and called Yeye Kunle by everyone in the village, did not like Ireti and did not want her for her son. It was not like Yeye Kunle had any specific issue against Ireti. No, she doesn't. As a matter of fact, it wasn't just only Ireti she didn't want for her son, but also any other maiden at all. And this was for the simple reason that she preferred that her son marries a particular maiden she has chosen for him instead. The name of the maiden she wanted for her son was Labake. Labake was also very beautiful, just like Ireti and every other maiden in the village. But what made her special in Yeye Kunle's eyes was because Labake was the daughter of her late bosom friend who had died many years ago. So, Yeye Kunle desires strongly that the bond she and Labake's mother shared would continue and live on through their children by marriage. However, Kunle did not like Labake one bit. Kunle was not the kind of person who barely despised anyone or kept disdain in his heart because of his good and kind nature. But no matter how much he tried, he could not help but feel a subtle dislike towards Labake. This was because of the kind of person Labake was. Labake was an aggressive person. She was quick to anger, quick to challenge anyone who disagreed with her opinions, and was often involved in a fight. Even in small matters, Labake would argue loudly and stubbornly, making simple issues bigger than they needed to be. She often spoke in a harsh tone, and her way of talking and behaving sometimes made people uncomfortable and tried their best to avoid her. However, it was difficult to completely stay away from Labake and not be involved with her. This is because, despite how sour her attitude was, Labake was a very good seamstress. In fact, she wasn't just a good seamstress. She was the only one who made dresses in the village. She had inherited the gift from her late grandmother and had learnt the skill so well that even people from the neighboring villages came to her to make their dresses. And so, for this reason, even if one tries to avoid Labake for many months, at least they get to interact with her once they wish to make clothes. Just like every other maidens in the village, Labake also has her eyes on Kunle. I was glad that Kunle's mother chose her to be the one she wants for her son. So, she respected Yeye Kunle and tries not to display a sour attitude to or around Yeye Kunle. But to Kunle, he knew that no matter what his mother wanted, he could never marry someone like Labake. And so, after many harvests of cotton Ireti, Kunle decided that it was time to make Ireti his wife. He told his parents about his decision and asked that they give him their blessings and accompany him to Ireti's parents' house. Of course, Kunle was not in support of this and protested. But Baba Kunle, Kunle's father, gave his son his full blessings and they proceeded to make the marriage arrangements with Ireti's people. Then one day, 1 month to the day of Kunle and Ireti's marriage, Kunle woke up one morning and saw himself and Labake on his bed, in his bedroom, in a compromising position, both of them half naked. Kunle didn't know how they got to that position. He couldn't even remember how he got to his bed himself the previous night. The last thing he remembered was that he had his dinner the previous evening, along with few cups of fresh palm wine. His mother had told him that his friend had brought fresh palm wine for him when he had been away in the afternoon. So, while he sat at one corner of the compound having his dinner, Labake, who had come to see his mother like she frequently does from time to time, sat with his mother at the other corner and they ate together. That was all Kunle could remember. Immediately, he asked Labake how she got to his room and on his bed. And that was when Labake told him that he had too much of the palm wine and so found it difficult to make his way to his room by himself. So, his mother had asked her to help him, and that when they got to the room, that he begged her to spend the night with him and told him that they got intimate afterwards. Kunle felt like throwing up when Labake mentioned to him that they both got intimate. He tried to protest that there was no way he would have requested that from her. But truly, he couldn't even remember anything. Well, Kule was right that he could never have requested such from her because truly, they did not get intimate. Since Kule and Imeti's marriage was drawing near, Yeye Kule and Labake came together and devised a means they could use to stop the marriage. So, that evening, they had bought palm wine and drugged it to make Kule intoxicated and knock him out, so that Labake would lie beside him and pretend that something intimate happened between them. They had thought that Ireti would drop by at Kule's house that evening, so Ireti would see them in a compromising position and call off the marriage. But Ireti did not come that evening, as their informants had told them that she would. And Baba Kule was not around on this day also, because he had gone on a journey to another village for a farming-related business. Since Yeye Kule and Labake's plan did not work because Ireti did not see it, Kule and Ireti's marriage went on as planned. However, on the day of the marriage, as the processions were going on and were almost even over, Labake, who with Yeye Kule had devised another plan, came before everyone as the marriage ceremony was about to be concluded and declared that she was pregnant for Kule. She told everyone the lie that she and Kule had been intimate a month ago. She came with her auntie and guardian, Auntie Iyabo, who demanded that Kule must marry Labake as well for putting Labake in the family will. While Ireti was shocked and heartbroken by this discovery, Kule was mute and couldn't even deny anything because he believed and thought that he had sexual intercourse with Labake. And so, though Kule had tried to seek a better way and another approach to sort the issue other than marrying Labake, he was compelled by the elders to marry Labake for supposedly putting her in the family will. So, a month after Kule's marriage to Ireti, he married Labake also. Kule became a man with 2 wives, something he hadn't even imagined that he would do. More so to Labake of all people, the maiden that he detests. After Labake became Kule's wife also, she and Yeye Kule became very happy that they succeeded in their plans. However, they became worried a few days later because they had a problem. I am sure you know what the problem is. Their problem was that Labake was truly not pregnant because nothing happened between she and Kule that night. And it is expected that a pregnant woman's belly should start protruding months after she became pregnant, and that she should bring forth a baby at the end of the day. This became a source of worry for Yeye Kule and Labake for many days. Labake had suggested that she puts clothes on her belly to fake a pregnant belly bump. Sure, Bonunieni, are you a fool? If you use clothes to fake a pregnant belly, would you also use clothes to fake a baby? Yeye Kule had said, irritated by a not so clever suggestion. Yeye, the clothes to fake the baby is just to buy us some time. Then we can look for a baby and present afterwards, Labake had replied. Assuming I agree with you, Yeye Kule said, where do you think we can find a baby? Do you have a baby market somewhere where we can go and just buy a baby? Okbonu? Fool, Yeye Kule said. Then, days later, Yeye Kule came up with an idea. There was a powerful sorceress called Iya Eshilaru in their neighboring village that Yeyekule had heard could make the seemingly impossible things possible. She didn't know if it was true that the sorceress possesses such power, but she thought to give it a try and go to her for the solution to the issue they have. She told Labake about this, and the both of them set off to the sorceress' place. They got to the sorceress' place and told her what they wanted. They even added that she should help them make Iriti not able to conceive and bear children, so that she would lose Kunle's love and that Kunle would love Labake instead and alone. So you want a baby to appear where no seed was planted? Iya Eshilaru asked, smiling with a slow, cunning delight lighting up her face. Yeye Kunle and Labake nodded in affirmative. Okay, it is what my god Eshu is capable of. My god Eshu would grant you your request. All you would have to do is that you will drink a portion from Eshu's sacred pots now and sleep in Eshu's shrine this night. By morning, you will feel a life in your belly. Iya Eshilaru said to them softly and slowly. Labake and Yeyekule, desperate to get that baby and cover up their previous lie, agreed. And so, Labake did all Iya Eshilaru told her. By morning of the next day, after sleeping in the scary Eshu's shrine, and when she and Yeyekule were about to leave, they asked if there was anything they needed to do to show their appreciation when they finally get their baby. Do not worry, that will be revealed to you when the seed in your womb is born, Iya Eshilaru said, smiling with a glint of dark mischief dancing in her eyes. And just as the sorceress assured them, Labake became truly pregnant indeed. Months later, she gave birth to a baby girl. They named the baby Morayo. Labake danced and mocked Ireti, who was still haven't been able to conceive, despite being the one whom Kunle only spent time with. Eshu gave me a child even without the natural implantation of his seed. So for that, Eshu said that what he will accept from you as appreciation is another life. One of you would have to die. A life for a life. Iya Eshilaru told Yeyekule and Labake when they returned to show their appreciation after Morayo was born. Ha! A life for a life? One of us would have to die? Oh, this is not what we want. Can't Eshu accept something else? Yeyekule and Labake asked with sudden fear and worry. No! A life for the life that Eshu has given you. Nothing else, Iya Eshilaru said. And don't worry, it wouldn't be so soon. So, you still have time to enjoy your life some more, she added, smiling again with that mischievous, daunting smile. Then, Labake and her mother-in-law asked who amongst them was going to die. Eshilaru has not told me that yet, so I don't know. It will take the one he wishes to take when he thinks the time is right. And he would use the seed he has given to you to take your life. Iya Eshilaru explained further. Ha! The seed it gave to us to take our life? Are you saying he would use Morayo to take the life of one of us? Yeye Kunle and Labake asked together, looking more scared. Yes, your daughter Morayo would be the one Eshu would use to kill the one he wishes to kill when the time is right. Slowly, she would cause you both pain and misery, and then cause one of you to die afterwards. Iya Eshularu explained, smiling wickedly. Labake and her mother-in-law exchanged worried glances. What have they gotten themselves into? How can her own child kill her? Labake thought. How can her own granddaughter kill her? Yeye Kunle thought. They both begged and begged Iya Eshularu to consult her god Eshu again to change this course. But she told them that it can't be changed and sent them away from her shrine where they kept begging. They returned home fearful, but for 1 year, nothing happened. Baby Morayo was sweet and calm. On the day that they were returning from Iya Eshularu's shrine, Labake had suggested that day that they dumped the baby in the bush and should tell everyone that they were attacked by slave traders who stole the baby from them as they went to visit our own grandmother. If she's not with us, then there is no way she can get to kill us, Labake had said. So, they had dumped the baby in the bush that day and rushed back to their village. However, immediately they arrived at their compound, they heard baby Morayo's voice crying from within the house. Where did the both of you go and left the baby all alone? Baba Kunle had asked as he came out of the house carrying the baby. Labake and Yeye Kunle had exchanged worried and terrified glances. Another time, Labake had used a cloth, placing it on the baby's face and tried to suffocate life out of the baby. She had tried and tried, but the baby did not die. Instead, she smiled, like she was saying, "Sorry, but you can't get rid of me." And sometimes when bathing the baby, Labake would dip her into water and left her there for long. But the baby neither struggled nor did she die. So Labake had stopped trying. Well, baby Morayo remained calm and nothing happened the first year, second year, and even the third and fourth year. However, when she became 5, her mission began. She started causing mischief and creating problems for Labake and Yeye Kunle. She would sneak into the kitchen when no one was watching and pour plenty of water into the pot of soup her mother has prepared, making it watery and ruining the soup.
"Mommy, I want to make the soup plenty for you,"
she would say to her mother Labake. When Labake comes in and finds her soup watery and ruined, or sometimes it would be sand and stones that she would put into the soup and still say,
"Mommy, I made the soup plenty for you now."
I would ease with her small tiny mouth.
"Mommy, instead of you to say thank you, Seth, you are shouting at me that made your soup plenty,"
she would say. One time, she went into her grandma's bedroom and took the money of the women's cooperative Yeye Kunle kept safely hidden under her bed and used it to go buy akara balls, biscuits, groundnuts, and sweet for herself and her tiny little friends all through the day. At first, she told the people she went to buy these things from their place that it was her mother who sent her and gave her the money. And the sellers would smile as they sold the things to her and admire how smart she was, despite being so little. She hid the old money in her pants under her skirts and only brought it out one by one so no one suspected. And it was when she kept buying and buying different things one after the other all through that morning and afternoon that the different sellers started to grow suspicious and set a bigger child to call Labake's attention to it. When Labake asked her daughter how she got the money she was spending, she told them with boldness that she went into Yeye Kunle's room and took the money.
Is money not meant to be used to buy things? I use it to buy things I wanted now.
Morayo said with her sharp, tiny mouth. Yeye Kunle almost fainted because by this time, what was left of the money was not even up to 10% of the actual amount. The neighbors and other people who witnessed this, and even other times when Morayo did a mischief, all thought that Morayo probably took after her mother's sharp and bad mouth and secretly thought that it serves Labake right. But Labake and Yeye Kunle knew that Morayo's attitude was beyond just she being ordinarily mischievous, and knew it is spiritual because they remembered all Iya Eshularu said. What bothered them was not even the mischief and stress that Morayo was causing them, but that who between the both of them would die and when that would be. Morayo continued with her mischief. One day, a woman came to Labake for her to make a dress for her. As Labake was about to take the woman's body measurements, Morayo rushed into her mother's shop and started dragging her, telling her to go with her.
Mommy, come!
Morayo said. Labake asked her what it was, but Morayo would not say and kept dragging her by the wrist, asking her to go with her. Labake left what she was doing and followed Morayo, only for Morayo to take her to the back of the shop and said,
Mommy, see! I drew my friend on the ground,
pointing to a figure she had scribbled with her finger on the sand. Labake screamed because the figure looks exactly the same like the statue of the Eshu deity that was in Iya Eshularu's shrine. And the eyes of the drawing on the sand was very red and fire coming out of it as though it was real. So she screamed. People ran to her, held her, and asked her why she screamed. Labake pointed to the ground and said,
See, it is looking at me. It wants to kill me.
But people looked at her and thought maybe she was running mad because they saw nothing. Meanwhile, Morayo just stood where she was and was smiling at the old drama. And from that day, their misery even grew worse. Labake discovered that she could no longer focus on things again without making an error. Either it was sewing or cooking at home. If she cooked, it is either she would add too much salt or pepper, or mistake sand for salt, because the salt in the container would suddenly look like sand to her, whilst the sand on the ground would be as white as salt to her, and she would hear a voice telling her to scoop the sand she was seeing as salt into a pot of food. The same thing was also happening to Yeye Kunle if she was the one cooking. Labake also started making errors with the clothes she sewed as well. The same voice would tell her to do a wrong thing with every dress, and it is when the owner of the dress comes that she would realize the error she had made. One day, she saw thrice an oversize of a dress for someone, and the woman was so mad and asked her to fix it. Morayo was in the shop at the time, so she witnessed it. And when Labake just stepped out to the back of her shop to thrash some waste, Morayo had taken the dress and was already cutting the dress with scissors
Mommy, I am helping you to reduce your customer's dress since she said it is too big.
Morayo said, smiling. Labake almost ran mad and fainted. The fabric was very expensive, and Morayo just ruined it by making several holes in it. Oh, Eledumare! What kind of problem have I brought upon myself? Please, take this demon in form of a child away from my life. I am tired. I don't want again. I don't even want to be Kunle's wife anymore. After all, despite all I did, he still does not look at me at all. But still clings to that his barren wifey. Ah, Eledumare, I am tired, please. Labake said, sobbing. Morayo whereas just sat on the bench, smiling, as though saying, your misery only just began. And it seemed like it, because Labake and Yeyekule, though they started locking Morayo every day inside the house to prevent her from causing any mischief and causing them pain. But then, whenever they now walk on the road, they would just hear Morayo's tiny voice telling them to pick and take something that is not theirs. And strangely, they found themselves doing so, unable to restrain themselves. It is when the people whose things they have taken start shouting that they would come to their senses. See you, why are you taking my bread and walking away without paying? Stop there, thief, only, the owners would shout. Then, Labake and Yeyekule would regain their senses. And that was how it continued. Yeyekule and Labake started picking and stealing things and became known in the whole village to have now become thieves. This was embarrassing for them, and they started dread going out as a result of shame, but mostly because so they wouldn't have to steal anything. However, Morayo's strange tiny voice would come to them, commanding them to go out of the house and steal. Now, while children and young people mock them and call them thieves, the elders of the village felt something was strange and wrong, because they had known Yeyekule and Labake for long and knew that they could be anything but not thieves. One evening, an old wise woman called them to her old poor hut and told them that she believes that they must have done something wrong and was under a curse, and urged them to confess to whatever wrong they may have done in order to receive redemption. However, Yeyekule and Labake were too ashamed and scared to confess to their evil deeds, so they refused to speak. And so, Eshu continued to torment them. And one day, an angry hunter fired his gun and shot Labake when he saw her stealing a goat from his goat pen one night. He didn't mean to kill Labake. He only shot his gun to scare her away. But somehow, his gunpowder did touch Labake and killed her. When Yeyekule saw Labake's lifeless body, her heart failed her and she collapsed, dropping dead also. And so, at the end, it wasn't just one life that Eshu took for giving a life, but 2 lives. The devil's gifts always comes at a more dire cost than we can imagine. As a matter of fact, the devil does not give gifts, but packages death and stone for us, disguised as gold, just to steal from us. It comes to steal, kill, and to destroy. And we must desist from anything that would make him steal from us and destroy us. Yeyekule and Labake dined with the devil. From the beginning, they started their mischief and started planning evil in order to get Kunle to marry Labake. And if only they had just confessed when the wise old woman asked them to, they may have found redemption. Well, Kunle and his father did not mourn his mother and Labake for long, because even them felt something was off and strange. For a very long time, they had spoken to them to find out what was wrong. But Kunle and Labake refused to speak. Even when they started stealing people's things, they had begged them and asked them to follow them to Eledumare's chief priest for cleansing and solution. But Kunle and Labake had refused to follow them for fear that all they did way back from the beginning would be exposed. Anyway, 1 month after Labake and Kunle's deaths, Ireti miraculously became pregnant and gave birth to twin babies. As for little Morayo, a week after Labake and Kunle died, she slept one night and didn't wake up also by morning, an indication that she had also returned to where she came from. And so, Kunle and his true love Ireti lived happily ever after and peacefully with their children. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I'm sure you got the lessons in it. Share them in the comment section to let me know that you truly do. And don't forget to give this video a like if you really did enjoy it before you go. Please. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next story. Bye.